Alafia, and welcome to the online IFA classroom. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. My name is David Graham. I also go by Awo Ifa Foray at the IFA Foundation of North America. And once again, the online IFA classroom is a place for the beginner to come and watch a series of videos to begin walking the path of IFA. It was said long ago that you cannot know where you're going unless you know where you're from. And nowhere is this more true than in the work we do in IFA, specifically the subject of ancestor worship. I get asked on a regular basis by beginners, this all sounds great, I love what you're saying, how do I get started? And it's my opinion that the easiest and perhaps single most important tenet of what we do is the concept of ancestor worship or ancestor reverence. Those of you that grew up like I did in the church in North America may find it interesting to know that well over half of the world population practice some form of ancestor reverence, ancestor worship, ancestor veneration. From an elaborate shrine like you may see at an African diaspora altar, such as a voodoo altar or Santeria, to something as simple as going into your local Asian restaurant and seeing a small shrine that they may have in a corner with food, water, incense, etc. These are all forms of ancestor worship or ancestor reverence. And indeed, in Ifa, ancestor worship is one of the cornerstones of the work that we do. This can be done by everyone from the newest beginner to the oldest, most advanced and senior priest, and should be practiced by everyone in some form or fashion. There were several reasons for ancestor worship. The first and foremost was the understanding that every living being in the universe is intertwined and in a symbiotic relationship with one another. In Ifa, we mean that quite literally, not metaphorically, meaning everything that I touch impacts everyone else and vice versa. And indeed, if you look at science, this is true when it comes to ancestors. It is very clear that every human being on the planet has descended from one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, meaning that we all descended from one man and one woman. So we are literally all related. We are all a big family. And nowhere does this become more apparent than when you begin doing your ancestor worship. The other tenet that was crucial to understand is the idea that this is not our final go-around. In Ifa, we teach that we are constantly in flux between the world of the immortals or the invisible, the land of our ancestors, and the marketplace or the earth when we are here. And that we are literally reborn through our connection to the ancestors, meaning that my father will be reincarnated through my children or my children's children, etc., etc. Again, proven by science through DNA and RNA and the process of passing that down through birthing descendants. So in Ifa, we believe that you are quite literally reborn at some point and that you will come back and you will have more time to do the things that you didn't accomplish in this journey. Again, what solidifies this is the concept of ancestor worship. You have to understand that when you come to the realization that this is not your only go-around, your life will inevitably reprioritize itself. The things that you found so pressing, so important, so urgent, whether it's money, accolades, success, the newest car, the biggest house, the most awards, will not be as important as the things that should be, such as connection to family, children, your community, your reputation, the actual work that you do when you are here. And again, when you realize that this is not the only time that you'll be here, that you have forever to get things done, then your worldview or your priorities will begin to shift. And again, the easiest way to do this, connect to your ancestors. Since we're trying to keep these videos short, and indeed I could talk about ancestors for hours, specifically the concept of a guardian ancestor, which I'll do another video on, The second question that I get after how do I get started is, well, how do I start doing ancestor worship? If it is, if not the most important piece, one of the most important pieces of our IFA work, how do I begin doing it? It's very, very simple. What you'll want to do is create a space in your home, hopefully one where you can sit uninterrupted, um, and dedicate that space to connecting with, praying to, getting to know the energy of your departed blood relatives. Now, in my home, my shrine consists of pictures of the deceased, my father who has passed, my grandparents, great grandparents, my guardian ancestor, etc. Some of those photos are in color, some of those are in black and white, but just a small space with lots of pictures of family. Mine has two African statues, one man and one woman, that I think about the connection to the original man and the original woman. Um, it also has some, jewelry, trinkets, things that remind me of those deceased that are no longer here. One important point: if you're going to put pictures up of deceased relatives, make sure they are blood relatives, number one, and make sure that the only living being in the photos is you or no one. So you and the ancestor, or just a picture of the ancestor, no one else. And then how do we get started? Again, very simple. All you need is one white candle, one cool glass of water. It can be a tea candle, it can be a votive candle, it can be a 7-day candle, preferably white, and a cool glass of water. And initially, you're going to dedicate 13 minutes a day for 7 days each month to your ancestors. And in a perfect world, you're going to do it at the same time every day. And so, for example, if I decide to dedicate this upcoming week, I'm going to start Monday in my practice at 6 p.m. And I will go Monday through Sunday every day at 6 p.m., not skipping a day. I'll sit down at my ancestor shrine, I'll light my candle, I'll put a cool glass of water, and I'll begin to pray. And the prayer is very simple. You just pay homage or give respect and love to all of your departed blood relatives who are no longer here. And if you know their names, call them out by name 3 times. So my father's name 3 times, my grandfather's name 3 times, my grandmother's name 3 times, then go to my mother's side of the family, my grandfather's name 3 times, my great-grandfather's name 3 times, etc., etc. And just thank them for their love, their support, their experiential wisdom and knowledge that you carry in your matrix, whether you know it or not, their protection, their blessing. Offer them your love, offer them your thanks, offer them cool water that it might be cooling and refreshing, and offer the tea candle for light, illumination, and energy. And then spend a minimum of 13 minutes at your shrine, either having a discussion with your ancestors or quietly listening for any guidance, advice that may come to you. May come in the form of an inner voice, may come in the form of a intuition. Every person is going to vary depending on your reality and your experience. But I think it's handy to have a note, pen, and a paper there so that you can write down any ideas, any voices, any intuitions that may come to you. And you're going to do this every day for 7 days at the same time for a minimum of 13 minutes. Here's the kicker. If you dedicate this time to your ancestors and you miss a day, you start over from scratch. That's right. If you miss a day, say you're on day 5 and you miss day 6, you start over from day 1. I get a lot of kicking and screaming at this point. And I get asked more than anything, why do we have to do that? Well, you don't have to do anything. Why do we recommend that you do that? Because for the beginner, it's going to take some time to learn to make the connection. The reason that you go to an IFA priest for a reading or to solve a problem or to make an abo for you so that you get the job, get the girl, get the money, whatever the need is because that IFA priest, that person, is able to make a connection to an Orisha energy, and they're able to make a tangible result happen in the physical reality by making the connection to the energy. Well, guess what? That doesn't happen overnight. That is a learned skill. Some will inherently have more ability than others, but it's something that we practice, something that we learn. There is a rhyme and reason to the way that we do things and the results that we get. Your knowledge, your ability to do that will only be as good as the practice that you put in. And so that's why we recommend 7 days, 13 minutes at a minimum, once a month for the beginner until you get it. And when you get it, you say, how do I know? You'll begin to know that you're dialed into the energy of your ancestors. And what you'll find, and what I tell people, is if you take one step towards your ancestors will take 5 steps towards you. There are many people out there who don't know their ancestors. They may not know their father. They may not know their mother. They may not know their grandparents. That's okay. Set up a shrine. Pray to the ancestor that you do know. Always include, and all of the ancestors whose names I do not know, but whose blood flows through my veins. And invite them to come into your life, to influence your life, and to open up all of the knowledge about them so that you can learn more and know more about them. And you'll be amazed at what happens. The second important part is once you've begun to make this connection to your ancestors, it's more than okay to begin to bring them offerings and to begin to ask for things that you need. Very important to understand the things that we need versus the things that we want. But when there is a genuine need, your ancestors are there to help you. You can bring them things like liquor, cigars, black coffee, food dishes that they may have liked, always with good character, always with good intent, and always from a sincere place. Simply offer them whatever it is, thank them, and then take your needs, your requests to your ancestors. A final thought here, and again, we can go on about this for hours, but the idea here is to keep it short and sweet. And feel free to email me with questions or go to the ifafoundation.org, and there's a lot more about ancestor worship. Another thing that I get a lot is, David, this is going to be really hard for me to do because in life, so-and-so who's now deceased was a real rat bastard, treated me very badly, was abusive, etc., etc. Now you want me to go to this place and offer this person things and venerate them and send them my love, and I have a difficult time having love for this person. You have to understand that when we're here in the marketplace, we're mortal. We're subject to all of the shortcomings and poor behavior that mortals can fall susceptible to. When we shed this vessel that is a body and we leave this place and we go back to the land of our ancestors, all of those encumbrances stay here. Time, space, distance, emotions, faults, flaws, shortcomings. Wherever they are now, I assure you that A, they're very aware of the mistakes that they made in their life, and B, that all they want now is to help, to support, to encourage, to strengthen your journey here. You can always tell when I'm making a good point because I get goosebumps all over my body. And the point is that that entire pool of ancestors, all the way back to the first man and the first woman, whose blood flows in your veins, is there for you to tap into. They have no constraints. They're not too far away. It's not about whether they have enough money. It's not about whether they can get out there to help you or if they have the time. They have nothing but the time, the willingness, the inclination, and the ability to transcend space and time and barriers and make your life better. You just have to learn how to pick up the phone and dial them up. So 7 days every month, 1 week of each month, costs you absolutely nothing except your time. Prayers to all of your ancestors for strength, support. Send them your love. Offer them cool water and a white tea candle. Call them by name for those that you know. Always add, and to all the ancestors whose names I don't know, but whose blood flows through my veins. And begin to work with the energy of your ancestors and watch your life change in amazing, amazing ways. One final point, and some of you are welcome to undertake this. I know that I did and still do from time to time. After several cycles of working with your ancestors, when you begin to feel like you have this dialed in and you can connect deeper and quicker than when you originally started, some of you may say to yourself, I've been doing this for a while now. I'd really like to see something. I'd really like to know that this is working. If you haven't already, it's more than okay to go to your ancestors and ask them to show you that they are there. Be warned, when you do this, I can guarantee you that they will in fact reach out and let you know that they're there, and it happens in the strangest of ways. But once you have done that, then there should be no doubt that this is not the only experience. There should be no doubt that the energy of our ancestors is still very much alive and very much active in our life and is there to help us in this benevolent universe that we're a part of. Once you know that, then the way that you see things here in this existence will change forever and hopefully for the better. So as always, give it a shot. You have nothing to lose but time and energy. And you have everything to gain in your understanding of the world, in your understanding of your reason for being here, and your understanding of where we're going. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me, ifafore@ifafoundation.org. That's IFAFORE @ifafoundation.org. And feel free to see the website ifafoundation.org for more information. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.